Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. I have had to leave my wonderful hills of southeastern Ohio to attend a retirement party for my best friend from the Army. This is his actual second retirement. He retired once from the Army and had a second career and is retiring from that. I've been invited to come down to enjoy in the celebration, and it is in a very different kind of environment than what I'm used to. It is in a very large urban city, and it has had protests here very recently, and there was some violence, but of course, you know, all of these protests are mostly peaceful, but very easily they can transition into something very ugly and very violent. So I've known about this trip for a little while. I've had a lot of time to be able to prepare for the trip as far as researching and things like that. I've also developed a EDC to have with me while I'm here, just in case the worst were to manifest. I'm going to throw this in there real quick before you start going through this. If you don't want to see all the information that I'm providing as far as trip preparation, route planning, safety backup information, things like that, just go ahead and fast forward to the point to where I'm showing you my EDC and my protest EDC, and I will put a time signature at the bottom of this little clip, and you can fast forward right up through that. Now I'm going to walk you through some of the steps that I went through in order to research and prepare for the trip. And as far as my EDC goes that I put together for this, it is above and beyond what my normal EDC is, and it is not, I repeat, it is not a get home bag. I am 13 hours away from home. And given the situation, these types of events are very localized and they are very avoidable as far as that goes. And so I'm not planning for Armageddon with this, but with the way things are, the way things have transpired, I thought it was prudent just to be able to put a little something together and to be able to guarantee that I can be as safe as I possibly can, both in my kit that I have with me and my planning and strategy to be able to avoid any situation that might occur. Now I'm going to do a real quick rundown, as try to do it as quick as I possibly can, of the things that I've done to prepare for this. Well, the first thing that I did as soon as I was invited is, of course, I checked out my route and just use Google Maps for that to plan out a basic route. But then I basically did general information about the area or areas I'm going to be staying in. I did this both by going to just general information and then also researching recent news and things like that, specifically about the No Kings protests that were going on. And really, I mean, it's so easy to to look this stuff up, because these groups, these organizations that are planning these events, all you have to do is you just do a Google search, say protests, anti-Israel, pro-Palestine, No Kings, any of these protests that are going to be going on. You could just go ahead and type in protest planned for the city that you're going to for the time span that you're going to be there. And literally, you will have all kinds of information will be coming up from all these different groups. And so you can see if anything's actually planned. Now, we all know that sometimes these things are very kinetic. They are very quick. They come up out of the middle of nowhere. But at least you have a general idea if you're going to be going into a potentially hot situation. And then once you do that, you go ahead and you see where the protests are scheduled to take place and do a comparison between that area and the actual area you're going to be in. You know, some cities you may be 3-4 miles away from anything that's going down, so the likelihood of you having any issues are slim to none. But when we get to the route, I decided to do something a little bit different. I have the actual event location, but that's in the heart of the city. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to plan to have a hotel about an hour away, about an hour drive. And one thing that you will notice when you are going on any type of your trips, you will see all of these clusters of hotels and restaurants that are usually near the interstate. And some of these, I mean, have a very small actual city population that are associated to them. And there's all kinds of businesses, all kinds of hotels that are around here. And rarely ever do you see in any news reports of any of those types of events that occur in those types of locations. They're almost always in the city center and things like that. So I figured that would be a safe location to be able to stay. I'm not in the same city that I'm going to be going to the event, and being able to transport or get transportation from that location to my hotel to regroup would be, you know, much easier to do. Now, I'm going to go into a zoom here to the location that we're going to be going to tomorrow, and I use Google Earth to be able to scout this area out. Now, I have my route that goes from the interstate down to the actual event. Now, if I zoom in, I can actually see all the businesses, restaurants, stores, hotels, but then this is really what I'm looking for. I'm really looking for this area here. I see trees, I see houses, I see decent neighborhoods, and you can zoom in and you can see what the area is like as far as the population goes. And that is a very good thing, because usually these types of events do not occur in prosperous areas, living areas. You can tell that this is a neighborhood. There's a lot of businesses. There's a lot of really nice areas, a few apartment buildings. But when you zoom in, you can tell that the area has all kinds of green zones. You have all kinds of landscaping. So that is very reassuring to be able to see that this is the kind of area I'm going to be traveling through. Then when we get over here, it looks like a small strip of industrial stuff, just a very small area of maybe some factories and warehouses. And then we get into parks. We get into like that's a baseball facility. We have a cemetery here, and then we're going to go all the way through looking. There's a shopping mall, and then I have the location that I'm going to be going to the actual event. So I'm very, very confident, and I feel very good about this as far as once I get off the interstate. The interstate is always a wild card as far as that goes, because you never know what traffic is going to be like. I have a Jeep, it's got four-wheel drive, and I have a tendency to drive more on the far right-hand lane as much as I possibly can. So if by any chance I need to evade a particular thing, I would be able to have a greater likelihood of doing that instead of being locked in the center lane or on the far left lane where the separation wall is between the northbound, southbound, eastbound, westbound lanes go. So that is my most general basic research that I do. So I plan out my routes, and also when I'm doing the route from home to my hotel, this is the route from the hotel to where the event is. I always have an alternate route, and I also can look on the map for construction zones and things like that, and then I can plan to be able to try to navigate around those construction zones the best I can. Sometimes they pop up and they're not available when I'm looking at the map, and when that occurs, you just got to suck it up and deal with it. There's one particular area I moved around a city, and it took an hour and a half to be able to get around that city because of the time of day I was going through there, and it couldn't be avoided, and just the type of daily traffic that is there. And of course, as I head out, I look at the weather forecast, different cities, locations that are along the route, so I can see what the weather situation is going to be like. Just things like that. In case you haven't noticed it by now, especially if you've been following the channel, I get a little OCD about things, and this is definitely one of those things. So I've done all my preparations to research and prepare for the trip, and the reason I do this, I don't do this all the time. I don't. The last time that I have ventured forth and gone someplace was way before COVID. Me and my wife went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That was a long time ago. Other than that, I haven't gone anywhere. So, especially if this isn't your regular thing that you do all the time, it's definitely worth taking the time, going through some particular steps, and prepare yourself for it. Prior to that, traveling to Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Youngstown, all these other places, no big deal at all. And I drive really well in traffic. And this is a thing to my OCD, which I'll get off a little bit of a tangent here. When I drive any of these distances, I am uber focused on driving. I do not play the radio. I do not engage in conversation. I do not take phone calls. I don't mess with my phone. The only thing my phone does is act as my navigator, and I have it on a mount right beside my steering wheel where it's not in my way, but all I have to do is just like slightly glance over and to look at it to see what information I need to get from my map on my phone, my navigation aid. So, that right there, I don't want any distractions. And as a result, believe it or not, I think the trip goes by much faster that way because I'm not being entertained. And all that being said, I plan my route out, I research the cities, I check news sources both in print and on news clips on YouTube from local news agencies, televised news agencies, to see what's been going on, what's going to be going on here this weekend, things like that, community events. And then with the route planned out, I get my stuff together, and then I hit the road, and I'm focused on what I'm doing 100% of the time, constantly checking my blind spots when I'm, cluster of traffic, and staying focused on the road. Now, once I'm in a situation, let's say I'm at the event and something were to go south, what am I going to do? Well, situational awareness, having an action plan in place is the immediate thing. But in order to plan or prepare for that, what I've done is I've set up a couple safeties. One of which, before I've left the house, I've left my wife with the phone numbers of all the people that are going to be with the event that I'm going to be at. And this is for her end as well as mine, in case there's an emergency, she can't get through on the cell phone, something's happened to my cell phone, something like that. The event venue, the phone number, the address, it's there for the individuals that are going to be associated with the event, their addresses, their phone numbers, both home and mobile. I have a couple people that live along the route, so if something were to go south, even though they would have to travel a little ways, if I could meet them halfway through a taxi or whatever, they would be able to, take me to where someone can come down from home, be able to pick me up and take it up from there. If something happens to the vehicle, let's say my vehicle got torched or something like that. So I have those phone numbers left with my wife as well. I have a complete detailed itinerary of my route, where my general stops are, the hotel information, address, phone number, room number, all of that stuff. Any possible bit of information I think that I could, collect, my wife has a copy of all of that, including printed maps, and as far as the route goes, a complete step-by-step route that you can very easily get from your computer. Okay, this is my standard EDC, and start over here. Yeah, I've got my ID, my concealed carry permit, and that's the one thing you definitely want to do wherever you're going to be in. You want to check your reciprocity with the states that you're going to be traveling to make certain that you do have reciprocity with your concealed carry, or whether or not it's even permitted. So you want to make sure you do that. And I've got all of my cards, credit cards, ID, all that good stuff there. I carry an inside the belt Kydex holstered G43X. It's the longer gripped version of the G43. I have 2 extra magazines. I have little pockets inside my pockets, and which these fit in perfect. And I have Sharpie fine tip, regular Sharpie pen. I use them all the time in my profession, and you can write on anything with them. I have a lighter with some duct tape wrapped at the bottom. That's an excellent little tool for a number of reasons, one of which you can use it for first aid items. You can use it for 1,000,001 items, but you can also use it for fire starting. I have my pocket knife, I have my cell phone, I have a flashlight, and I have my wipes. These right here come in handy all the time. You're in a situation, you just need to clean yourself up. There's no water or soap or anything else around. You've got that. And also for a situation where you're in some of these protests, they turn ugly. Something like this can be used to help clean up your skin if by any chance you're exposed to pepper spray, pepper balls, CS agent, things like that, to be able to get that off of your skin very, very quickly. But these right here are items I carry with me all the time. Now this is the bag I have chosen for my protest EDC bag. Now before anyone says, well, that looks like a tactical bag. Well, yeah, well, it does. But if I wear this and I have my camera that I'm actually shooting with slung around my neck, it then looks like a camera bag. And that's what I plan on carrying with me if by any chance I need to have this bag with me. Now, when I'm driving, it is in the passenger seat right beside me, and if for any reason I need to depart my vehicle, it's right there. I grab it and go. Everything I need is in it. And behind the passenger seat on the floorboard, which I can easily reach around and grab real quick, is my camera. And the reason the camera's not on the front seat is because I don't want to be exposed to the direct sunlight that's always coming in through the windows. But both items can be grabbed very quickly and extracted. Well, let's take a look and see what's inside. Now when the bag is slung, it's going to be slung over my left side, and I can very easily pop one of these Molly Pals webbing strips out, loop it around, snap it back in after I run it through my belt loop, so it's not going anywhere. If someone were to try to grab this and pull it, I've got the shoulder strap that's around my neck, and this it's around my belt, so they're going to have to pull me along with it if someone were to want to grab this. Okay, right here on the immediate inside is my sidearm, and this is a little beefier than the G43X that I carry. Same caliber, it's 9mm, except this, believe it or not, is a G22, and I have a 9mm barrel for it. So with any of the 40 cal Glocks that you get, you can buy 9mm magazines, 9mm barrels, and just switch out the barrel, switch out the magazines. You have 2 calibers in one pistol. So you got that. I've got numerous magazines in another pouch right here. I have a big boy. I have numerous smaller reloads. And in the same pocket, I also have a multiplier, a multi-tool. I have a pair of Mechanics high impact gloves. I have spare batteries. I have micro cord. I also have standard 550 cord. I have my wrist compass, just in case I and disoriented. Even in an urban environment, these compasses do pretty well. I actually used to use this when I visited New York City. You come up out of the subways, and sometimes you're a little disoriented as to which direction is which. So this right here came in pretty handy. I also have a power cell for my cell phone, and I have a long cord so that way I can leave the power cell in here plugged in, and I can have my cell phone in my hand, tuck it in my pocket or whatever, but it's in here, or I can put it in my hip pocket and do the same thing. That way it's charging as it's in use if I were to need that. And the pocket, I have a complete IFAK. Well, not complete. I don't have packing gauze. I have cat T tourniquet, EMT shears, and Israeli bandage. And I also have a USGI cravat, which that very easily could be used as a bandage. It can be used as a sling. You get it wet, it very easily can be used as filtration, minor filtration, for CS or anything else like that. As a matter of fact, if you get this wet, you pull it around your head, this is actually sheer enough, you can, in direct sunlight, you can actually see through it to some degree. So you could even protect your eyes to some degree with that. I also have a couple snacks here. Nothing major, just something to give me a little energy boost. I have a headlamp, and which can very easily be used in your hand too. Now this is in addition to my regular EDC. And the last thing I have is a Silcock key. And oh, not the last thing, a Silcock key, and I also have a emergency space blanket. This right here, if I'm caught in a downpour or whatever, that can be used as rain protection. It can be used for 1,000,001 purposes. I'm not going to go into all of them. Now that's it for pretty much the hardware, and the last thing would be just a generic bottle of water. If by any chance I were to need to refill that, I've got my Silcock key to where any access point I would have that had water, I've got water here. And water can be used for other things other than drinking. You can use the water to flush your eyes if by any chance you were to get CS or anything else like that in it. But that, in a nutshell, is my protest EDC. Now this is the rig. You can see it's not particularly large, it's not particularly heavy. Heaviest thing is probably the ammo. It is attached to my belt, and so that way if I have to maneuver, I have to do anything, it stays put. I can immediately pull it open, access my firearm if I need that, and I can pull it all the way open and sort through it. I can slide it around like this, sort through it to find what I need. So it's pretty handy. This is a Condor shoulder bag. I could put a link in the description box below. I use these a lot for a lot of different purposes. I actually have one specifically for my camera equipment. You probably have seen it several times on my videos. But when I am dressed for the event, which is not going to be like this, believe it or not, I'm not wearing green or anything subdued whatsoever. I have a pair of, I guess, more tactical-ish blue jeans. They look exactly like blue jeans, except a lot more hidden pockets. And I'll be wearing like a short sleeve blue plaid shirt. A lot of you probably wouldn't even recognize me when you, if you were to see me wearing that. And so if I have my camera and I have this bag, I have that shirt, I'm going to pretty much fit right in. If the worst were to happen and the situation becomes kinetic, if I have my camera, I can go through. It's just I would fit in with all of the other photographers for whatever purpose, whether it's the news or things like that. And I am not going to appear to be part of any of it. I would be using that specifically to where I can go ahead and egress and get out of that area as quickly as I possibly can. This will more than likely not be used, but I would rather have it and be prepared to use it and never have to use it than to be in a situation to where, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble and not have it. So it's not paranoia, it's just simply preparedness. Well folks, there you have it. This is my protest EDC, and hopefully you got a little bit out of it, whether or not it was for the trip planning preparation or the actual EDCs, both my personal and my protest EDC. I hope you got something out of it. Well folks, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.